Which is, fall is my favorite time of the year, so let's dive right into it. The first full team, did you see our remote schedule? We'll be traveling a lot through the show.
I don't know
The first full team practice of Ravens training camp started without two-time MVP Lamar Jackson, as the quarterback was sent home with an illness on Saturday. Head coach John Harbaugh had some strong comments coming to the defense of Lamar when asked about the criticism directed at the quarterback for not reaching the Super Bowl.
There's a lot of great things said about Lamar. But there's a lot of stuff that's said that you got to just scratch your head about and kind of wonder, what's that person even thinking, you know? So, but we take it personally. You know, there's a vision. And I believe the Ravens and we've always had a vision for Lamar Jackson. And the vision that we have together is that Lamar Jackson is going to become and be known and be recognized as the greatest quarterback ever to play in the history of the National Football League. That's the vision, all right? It's going to happen by Lamar, his work ethic, and his brilliant talent, by all of us pouring into that effort together as a team, teamwork, and by the grace of God and God's goodwill. That's how it's going to happen. And I believe it like we've already seen it.
Wow. Now that is a guy you want to be in the trenches with. We always talk about Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, coach quarterback combination like we did Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. That's an exceptional one as well. But what was your reaction to what Harbaugh had to say defending Lamar?
Well, first of all, I would appreciate it if he doesn't make up narratives, because what he was saying was a lie.
What?
And number two, I'd like him to look in the mirror. I respect the hell out of John Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's an elite coach in the National Football League, but he also is somebody that is known for being incredibly honest. We respectfully, Coach Harbaugh, what the hell are you talking about? What is this critique and this criticism of Lamar Jackson? Where is it coming from? There's only one. You haven't been to a Super Bowl. You haven't won a Super Bowl championship. You're a two-time league MVP. There are 9 people, Molly, 9 people that have won Super Bowl championship, that have been two-time league MVPs, okay? Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Kurt Warner, and Patrick Mahomes. Every single one of them have won a Super Bowl championship but Lamar Jackson. That is all we say. Nobody questions his ability. We used to question his ability to throw the football. That's been thrown out the window. We know how electrifying and mercurial of an athlete and a talent and a runner at the quarterback position that he is. We know what type of a game changer this brother is. Lamar Jackson is elite when he got his money, before he got his money. All of us were sitting here saying, wait a minute now, he deserves his bag. Now, be careful, because you negotiate it for yourself.
Yeah.
You understand? And your family members were a part of it. We were worried about that because the NFL can be a very complicated apparatus. But at the end of the day, we looked at him and nobody questioned that he deserved his money. Nobody questioned his greatness as a quarterback. Nobody questioned anything other than the fact that you have not won a Super Bowl. Now, let me get to Harbaugh, the look in the mirror part. The Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012, beating Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
You know how many playoff victories they've had since then? 3. You got to win 3 in one postseason to win a Super Bowl, minimum.
True.
He's won 3 in 11 years. One of them just came this last year. He got to the AFC Championship game, okay? They won a playoff game beating Houston before that, okay? So before last year, you had 2 playoff victories in 10 years. You got 3 playoff victories over the last 11 years. You're John Harbaugh. We know you're a great coach. I'm not questioning it. I'm simply saying you're talking about the audience out there and them talking about Lamar Jackson. No, sir, we're talking about you because you have Lamar Jackson. Why do you only have 3 playoff victories in the last 11 years when at least the last 5 or 6 years you've had Lamar Jackson?
Hold up.
How come you don't have more?
Harry, before you jump in, I'm just curious, though, Stephen A., do you feel like they've always had the personnel, they've always had the talent?
Yes. They've had the talent to have more than 3 playoff victories in 11 years. That is a fact. There is no NFL analyst. This brother, along with an abundance of other people, find me one NFL analyst, and you never heard me say this. Find me one NFL analyst in America that will dispute what I just said.
Okay, wait.
You should have more than 3 playoff victories in 11 years with the teams that the Baltimore Ravens have had.
Do this for me. Focus on the Lamar Jackson era, though.
Sure.
As far as Lamar, we talked about how he didn't have the weapons. They didn't have the weapons on offense. It was really just until this last year that we thought that he did.
You didn't have the weapons.
Fair?
You didn't have that is fair. You didn't have the weapons to win a Super Bowl. You had the weapons to have more than 3 playoff victories. You've had the weapons to have more than 1 or 2 playoff victories over the last 6 or 7 years. Giants, you definitely had that. So all I'm saying is Harbaugh, great coach, great guy, love him. Great for the NFL, the whole bit. But don't sit up there looking at us like we the ones have been talking about Lamar Jackson. No, we've been talking about you because we expect more from the Baltimore Ravens with you and Lamar Jackson there, and we have not seen the results.
So with the Chiefs there, it's always going to be difficult.
Well, I would say this, Stephen A., to your point about, you know, the not having so many wins while Lamar Jackson has been there. Sure. I think we got to also remember Lamar Jackson was hurt 2 of those seasons. Yep. And that may have hurt him. Okay. And now they had a game against Cincinnati where I thought they would have actually won that football game if you didn't have the quarterback fumbling and it get taken back for a defensive touchdown. But I think when you look at last season and you look at the AFC Championship game versus Kansas City Chiefs, it's the Todd Monken. Don't forget about your run game. Don't abandon the run game. This team has been top 3 in rushing since Lamar Jackson has been the starting quarterback for their organization. And we've seen Todd Monken in the AFC Championship game, who's not an offensive coordinator, abandon the run game. Also, when it comes to Lamar, when you think about Michael Jordan is the reason why so many people in the NBA who are all-time greats did not get a chance to win an NBA championship. I think when you look at the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and yes, the only thing I think he has to do now is win that Super Bowl. Yeah. It's still going to be hard because you have the standard in the National Football League right now named Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
He's in the conversation that we're talking about with Tom Brady. If they're able to three-peat, is he going to become the new GOAT in the whole 9? Just like Michael Jordan was when it came to Charles Barkley, when it came to Karl Malone and John Stockton and so many other people in the New York Knicks that didn't get a chance to win an NBA championship. Yeah. So it's going to be hard, but I think what Lamar Jackson has this season, in which I want a lot of people to understand, Lamar Jackson has never, from the offensive standpoint, had a closer. Lamar Jackson has to be better than he has been previously because now you have that closer. You have that guy that you can rely on, and everything shouldn't be on your shoulders because we've seen Derrick Henry literally by himself take a team, go into Baltimore when they had the #1 seed and beat them.
Stephen A., before you jump in here, I'm just curious. Let's take the quarterbacks out of it. And I know that's a bit extreme, and just do this thought experiment for me. How does the Chiefs as a team stack up against the Baltimore Ravens?
The Chiefs right now is the best team in the AFC. They just added Xavier Worthy, who ran a 4.21, and Hollywood Brown. Yeah. You talk about they're going to be as explosive as they've been in the past.
Okay, wait 1 second. And then let's...
Xavier Worthy's not just a fast guy. He is a wide receiver.
Yeah, and we already see the chemistry that him and Mahomes have in camp. And then do this thought experiment for me. How about Harbaugh versus Reed?
I'm taking Andy Reid.
Yeah, so you
I mean, you have the best quarterback in the National Football League.
You can't really put it all on Lamar.
Well, no, because here's the thing, though. When you have a quarterback and you paying him as such, and he's been a 2-time MVP, you always expect your guy to win.
Hold on.
No matter what the circumstances.
Hold on, my brother. You ain't getting let off the hook that easy. First of all, you talked about Lamar Jackson being hurt. That was when they lost to Cincinnati. He wasn't hurt when they went up against the Chargers, his first playoff game. He wasn't hurt when they went up against Tennessee. He wasn't hurt when he scored 3 points against the Buffalo Bills in the postseason. So that's 3 occasions right there. That's number 1. Number 2, it's not really, we understand, okay, what you're saying about Kansas City. Molly, they didn't go against Kansas City in the postseason until this past season.
Yeah, and look what happened.
I'm talking about all the years prior. I brought up 11 years. I'm talking about when you Harbaugh and you're talking about what the public is saying about a Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson been around for at least 6 years. But John Harbaugh has been there forever. And we're talking about an 11-season period where you have 3 playoff victories. So all I'm saying to Harbaugh is this. Again, we're not questioning his greatness as a coach. Okay, I know the man is great. He's a champion, okay? And I think his brother's going to do special things, too. I think Jim Harbaugh, this is a different subject for another day. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the greatest coaches in football, all of football, college or pros. He's proven it. And I think he's going to do big things for the Chargers. All I'm saying is, if you are Harbaugh, when you're talking to the media and you go out there bloviating about your quarterback being victimized and stuff like, I'm like, what are you talking about? We're looking at you, and we're saying the roster that y'all have, the quarterback that y'all have, You should have produced more than 3 playoff victories over the last 11 years.
I'm just curious, were you a big Joe Flacco believer? Because I don't remember in the past you being extremely high on him.
No, but it doesn't matter.
But it's like apples and oranges if we're looking at Flacco versus Lamar.
No, first of all, I never mentioned Flacco. You're the one that just
you're talking about 11 years. Who was the quarterback?
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm thinking about a defense. I'm thinking about a running game. I'm thinking about the Rough Rider mentality the Baltimore Ravens have. I'm thinking about Joe Burrow not being there until a few years ago, and even up to that point, you weren't winning playoff games. There are an abundance of things that we can look at, and we've said over the years, the expectations for the Baltimore Ravens, they are Rough Riders, and they don't get blown out. They show up, they fight. We know what a great coach Harbaugh is. But in the end, it ain't just about the quarterback. We're not talking about, we brought up Super Bowl appearances because of Lamar Jackson. But I'm talking about Harbaugh. 3 playoff victories in 11 years, and you're talking about how we're cutting Lamar Jackson short. We're looking at you. That's what I'm saying. We're looking at you because we know you're a great coach. We know you're a great leader. You're a champion. What's up with the last 11 years? It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, we get to look at you and we get to say, yo, it's been 11 years, bro. You ain't been. You went to the AFC Championship game last year for the first time in ages. Now, again, we ain't talking championship. We're like, wait a minute, relevancy. What's up? Come postseason time. We've been talking about others, but not you. And you are Harbaugh. You're John Harbaugh. We expect more because we know you're great. That's the story.
What did you make of what he said, that Lamar Jackson's going to be remembered as the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL?
It's not going to happen.
He believes that.
It's not going to happen because Patrick Mahomes is here.
That's the standard.
It's not going to happen. That's the standard.
Now, I would say this. When it comes to John Harbaugh, and I'm not saying this right, but I'll tell you the reason why he's probably gotten a pass.
Right.
Number one, he won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then number two, when you look at the Ravens organization and their culture, when the Ravens draft a player, you immediately say, you know what? Fits their culture.
Right.
When you have that strong, tight-knit culture and a culture that you believe in, they lost multiple offensive linemen this year. Let me tell you why I'm not worried, because I'm worried the culture. We know what they're going to pose. They're going to fill guys in. They're going to bring guys in, drafting-wise, free agency-wise, that they feel like is going to meet the bill of what they want and view as the standard. So that's why I'm never worried about the Baltimore Ravens. That's probably why we never put John Harbaugh in that conversation as, from a pressurized standpoint, is because of the culture that we have in Baltimore.
But we're only addressing him because of his words. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we just sat up here and we start talking about the Baltimore Ravens, that would be different, okay? Because then you're just throwing shade on somebody that doesn't necessarily
But what he has to understand,
But he brought this stuff up, and I'm going like this. Yo, bro, we looking at you. You got to get it done.
Listen, but what he has to understand, the criticism is going to always be there. In my eyes, man, you got to have tunnel vision. We know the quarterback position is the most scrutinized position when it comes to the National Football League, in the NFL. And you have a guy in Lamar Jackson, and then you have this other guy in Patrick Mahomes. And not to mention, now you have other young quarterbacks that's going to come up and be better as well when you're looking at C.J. Stroud. You just mentioned Jim Harbaugh. I expect Justin Herbert to be better. But so now it's more players in the party, too.
I don't feel like the tunnel vision argument works. It's not Lamar Jackson who's out there defending himself. It's his coach. And that's the kind of thing we would have liked to see for a guy like Dak Prescott. When he was getting raked through the media, his coach, the brass over there stepping up for him, but they never did that.
Well, my thing was, and we had this issue get up this morning. We're trying to figure out who is he addressing when it comes with the critics.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Lamar has had haters and critics until since he stepped into the league for a myriad of reasons that we don't have time to get into.
The only ones right now could be about the Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl or getting to a Super Bowl.
No, people say that he can't throw. He's not a real quarterback.
They haven't said that in the last 2 or 3 years. Not that.
He just won an MVP for a second time.
He's been too electrifying for anybody to say that.
It's the arguments are still he can't get it done.
Okay, how about this one? Let's simplify this and encapsulate the conversation with this. He's going to be the greatest. Well, Patrick Mahomes is 4-1 lifetime against Lamar Jackson. And he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion.